to another episode of Always Up to Date. I'm Denise and this is Yahweh, and we're with Always Bookkeeping. Today our topic is what to look for in a bookkeeper. So as you know, we always give you a quote and a statistic and a story of perhaps a story that we've come across in our experience. And so our quote today, again, from Jim Collins, the author of 6 books, and his quote is, "Those who build great companies understand that the ultimate throttle on growth for any great company is not markets or technology or competition or products. It is one thing above all others, the ability to get and keep enough of the right people." So our statistic today is that 50% of Canadian businesses fail and only 11 seek professional help. Yahweh, do you have a story that you could share with us about something from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the clients that come in here, and this is very common, a lot of people try to save on their accounting services by hiring the more or cheaper bookkeepers, for example, from Kijiji, and then they would have the problem of trying to get in contact with them when they need the reports. They'll get a lot of excuses for not having the reports done. My dog died, something else happened.
Yeah.
And then you left with a very little amount of time for when you needed the reports for, and not enough time to make enough right decisions.
Yeah.
So I have some questions here that you want to ask yourself when you're looking for a bookkeeper. And first of all, does a bad bookkeeper cost you money?
Oh yeah, bad bookkeeper can definitely cost you money. You may think that you're saving money by going with somebody that's cheaper, but like you said in your story, Yahweh, you hire them and then they leave, or you can't get in touch with them, and they give you your information when they finally give it to you, and it's all wrong, or it's been entered incorrectly. It doesn't maybe have all of the information that's required. They didn't really know what they were doing, so they just put it in whatever account they wanted to put it in. So then you take it to your accountant to do the year end, and they really have to do the bookkeeping all over again. So your accountant is going to charge you to do that bookkeeping. So now you've paid a really bad bookkeeper to do work that your accountant is going to charge you to do over again. So yeah, for sure, it can cost you money. Yeah. Plus, not only that, but you get these reports from the bookkeeper and think that you're in a good position in your company, and you can afford to maybe purchase a new piece of equipment, or hire a new staff member, or give out bonuses, whatever it might be. And really, with a bad bookkeeper that hasn't done the proper reports, hasn't entered the information correctly, you may spend money that you don't actually have.
How can the hourly rate of your bookkeeper affect your cash flow?
Yeah, again, with bookkeepers, if they're charging you by the hour, by the hour, depending on how much work they have to catch up on. We had a video, our first one that we did, we talked about how keeping your records organized will help that. So the bookkeepers that are charging you hourly, it's going to cost more if you have thousands of transactions maybe in a month. Maybe you do so much internet banking, you just every day you're doing lots. It's going to cost a lot more. At Always Bookkeeping, we charge a monthly rate. So it doesn't matter how many transactions you have in a month. We're going to charge you the same amount if you have 10 transactions or 1,000 transactions. So each month you know exactly how much you're going to have to pay.
Yeah, and it's more spread out through your fiscal year, right?
Yes.
As opposed to, let's say, you needed the bookkeeping, and going back to my story again, it's like you haven't seen this guy or this lady for 6 months, and suddenly you have this huge hourly bill that was going to be given to you after they've done all the reports, and they will require the payments really soon, right? So that kind of cost would will really impact you,
For
especially
sure.
if you're doing, if you're trying to budget monthly, right?
Yeah.
So how can bad information lead you to make bad decisions?
Yeah, like we talked about it, if the reports that your bookkeeper gives you are incorrect, you're going to maybe make some decisions that, again, whether it's buying a piece of equipment, hiring or firing a staff member, whatever it might be, if your records aren't correct, you're going to make those decisions, and then you're going to find out that that was a bad decision to make.
Mm-hmm. And tying back to the to our story, you haven't seen this lady for 6 months, and she probably would not know some of the transactions that happened, and would probably just do assumptions or choose her own assumptions based on what she has, right?
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of unclassified transactions just hiding in your reports that may or may not be pointed out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So is the bookkeeping industry highly regulated?
No, not really. So, of course, bookkeepers need to adhere to the law, right? But there is no governing body. Pretty much anybody can be a bookkeeper. They really just need to know the software and maybe a general idea of math, and they can call themselves a bookkeeper. Here at Always Bookkeeping, the team that we have all worked in public accounting offices, and lots of the staff are getting their CPA, so they have the experience behind them. They know what it is to give an income statement and a balance sheet, kind of where those transactions need to go. They know the questions that need to be asked for those major decisions that are going to be made by the clients.
What qualification does your bookkeeper need to have?
Again, your bookkeeper really doesn't need to have any qualifications to call themselves a bookkeeper. We would highly recommend that you have a bookkeeper that knows a little bit about accounting. They know how to work the software, the bookkeeping software, and I think that they need to know the questions to ask, the right questions to ask.
And being experienced,
and having that experience.
Having that experience in public accounting industry would be really helpful for you. Yeah,
that's right.
How often do you need to speak with your bookkeeper?
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any really set time that you should talk to your bookkeeper. At Always Bookkeeping, we really recommend a bi-weekly. We do the bookkeeping bi-weekly for our clients. We send them reports. We call them and go over the reports with them.
Yeah. And the main reason why we really love the bi-weekly schedule is that it's a set time. It's expected. You can put it in your calendar. You can set and forget it. And especially for those people who are paying their employees bi-weekly, you want to make sure your banks are reconciled before you pay them. Because you don't want to end up with, let's say, I have a bank balance of $10,000. I can pay my one employee, and then you realize there's an outstanding check for $8,000.
Yeah.
Will really affect your cash flow and would really stop you from doing business just to take care of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what type of reports can you ask your bookkeeper to provide?
Right. So your bookkeeper really should be able to provide you with a balance sheet and an income statement. Those are the two reports that you really need to be able to look at. You want to look at those like the balance sheet first, and then the income statement to see if there's any anomalies on them.
Yeah, because if your balance sheet has anomalies, chances are your income statement is wrong.
Yeah.
And I know most of the business owners, they rely heavily on the income statement, right? But how can you rely on something or on a report that's possibly has misleading information.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's important to make sure that your accountants or your bookkeeper are able to answer any questions about these anomalies, and they'll be able to explain it.
Yeah, for sure.
How often do you need interim financial statements?
So again, your bookkeeper should be providing them every 2 weeks when they do that. When they do your bookkeeping and they provide you with the reports, that's how often you should be seeing them and talking to your bookkeeper about them. Also, with the what we like to do with our reports is we like to look at 3 or 4, 5 months history with it. So we're not just looking at the month that you're working in. You can look at the months before as well. That's a really good way to tell if there's an anomaly. Your bookkeeper can question, why was this expense so much higher in this month? And sometimes there's a good reason for it. Maybe your dues, you pay your annual dues, and that was the month that they were due in. But maybe it was just that transaction got posted in the incorrect account. And so that can be fixed, again, right then, rather than waiting till the year end.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the advantages of having up-to-date reports?
Yeah, again, like we said, having up-to-date reports, then the day-to-day decisions that you need to make as a business owner, much easier to make if you have the information up to date. Rather than, again, like we've said so many times, waiting till the year end and finding out that you really didn't have the money to make that decision.
And again, I just wanted to clarify these bi-weekly meetings doesn't have to be long, and it doesn't have you don't have to sit with your bookkeeping every 2 weeks and spend 2 hours on them. It could just be a quick phone call to just clarify any of the issues.
Yeah.
Gives you better decision, and it gives you better reports to base your decisions out of.
Yeah.
Right?
And I found that those meetings got shorter as I got to know the clients better.
Exactly.
The more we did the bookkeeping for them, the easier that bookkeeping became, and so then the meetings were not long at all.
And the strategy part of it can come every month.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, if you need to.
That's right.
Yeah. What questions can your bookkeeper be able to answer about the reports? I think we touched on this.
Yeah, we've touched on it quite a lot, but basically the bookkeeper should be able to see, with just looking at those reports, what looks wrong on that month, what's out of place, why did this happen? Those are all things that your bookkeeper should be able to answer for you.
And I mean, for every industry, there could be seasonality, or it could be it could be anything. But at the end of the day, most of our businesses that are scalable are repeated on kind of the same activities over and over, right? So having those comparative financial statements will make you or let you see those anomalies based on comparing them month to month, right?
Yeah, that's right.
How can a good bookkeeper save you money?
Yeah, so a good bookkeeper is going to save you money. Again, like we said, having your reports ready every 2 weeks, they're going to help. Those reports are going to help you to make decisions wisely in your company. They're going to help you when you take your information to your accountant at the year end. You're going to save money there because they're not going to have to do that bookkeeping for you. The bookkeepers can just definitely save you money in so many ways.
Yeah, there is. And especially for people who doesn't do monthly billing rates like we do. Let's say your current bookkeeper is charging you on an hourly basis, then the efficiency of having a good bookkeeper will minimize those costs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they can save you money in a lot of different ways, not just technical knowledge of your bookkeeper, but also by providing you the proper information.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. I hope you guys liked our video.
Yeah.
Please don't forget to click like and subscribe for more information about bookkeeping.